I've been doing calisthenics and weights for the past 4 years, and the first 1.5 years were completely dialed in, completely locked in. I made the best progress of my life. But the next 2 years, I was stagnant, no progress whatsoever. And you'll see how this links to the video in a second. But in May of last year, I decided that this was the time. I was going to lock in and build my best physique ever. And lock in, I did. I'm training hard, sleeping more, eating more, training more, until I tear my rotator cuff. All that momentum comes crashing down. Like that. I can't lift up my arm, let alone hang from a bar. I can barely dumbbell bench 3 kilograms. I can't do a side chest. I'm literally unable to do everything I was doing before. And so I was left with no other option but to build from the ground up, but to build from step 0. And during this time, I saw my physique deteriorate. I saw my strength levels go down and down and down. I saw those who were behind me surpass me. And if you're into fitness, that stings so bad, right? Seeing your strength levels, seeing your physique go away in front of your eyes. That's like a knife to the chest, bro. And truth is, I could have easily entered into a negative rabbit hole, extremely negative rabbit hole. But this one concept saved me. Tawakkul. It's such a beautiful concept in Islam, and I genuinely believe that all of us, or most of us, take it for granted because we've been given it on a silver platter. It's literally the most amazing de-stressor you could have, because what is tawakkul? At the end of the day, tawakkul is having complete trust that Allah's plan is the best plan. It's realizing that the plan Allah Azza wa Jalla has made for you is made with complete justice, wisdom, knowledge, and love. For example, from late 2022 till mid 2023, I was so deep into the make money online rabbit hole. I was fully immersed in it. That's all I would think about. That's all I would consume. And so I chose to do copywriting, which is basically writing for businesses to make them money. Now, I thought this was going to be my cash cow. I thought this was going to be the business that sets me free. But lo and behold, here I am in front of your eyes. Ended up on YouTube. And I've met amazing brothers, alhamdulillah, that I probably would have not met otherwise. I started here, ended up here. 2 different sides. But that's His plan. And truth is, a lot of the times, we want things to happen the way we want them to happen, when we want them to happen, and how we want them to happen. But truth be told, it's all going to happen how Allah wills it. It's all going to happen when Allah wills it. If it is going to happen or not, that's also something Allah wills. Sometimes I wonder why a certain thing happened to me. Sometimes you may wonder why a certain thing happened to you. But truth be told, there's hikmah in it. Even if it's good, even if it's bad, there's always hikmah in it. There's always wisdom behind it. And you don't need to know the wisdom behind everything, right? You don't need to know the wisdom behind why this and this and this and this and this happened in your life. If you knew that, then what was the point of tawakkul, right? It's realizing that Allah is Al-Qadir. He has made your life and my life with perfect measure. So just what other option do you have besides trusting Him? And truth is, you will only be able to connect the dots, looking backwards at your life. Take the example of one of my favorite surahs in the Quran, Surah Yusuf.
Yusuf alayhi salam goes through so many difficulties in his life. From being attacked by his brothers, to the bottom of the well, to the palace of the emperor of Egypt, to the prison and the dungeons of Egypt, to the ministry of Egypt and the throne in front of which his parents are doing sujood. And at this moment in time, his whole life starts to make sense to him. It crystallizes in front of him. All the events suddenly make sense. And when you look back on your life, you will see your life has had so many ups and so many downs. And when you're going through them, they don't seem to make very much sense. But when you look back on them, they start to fall into a certain pattern. Everything begins to make sense.
You may be like, oh, but he's a prophet. Well, fine. If he's a prophet, then let's take the example of the founder of a now $3 trillion company. That's 12 zeros. 3 trillion. Steve Jobs. In 1972, Steve Jobs took a calligraphy class at Reed College, knowing that this would add literally nothing towards him getting a degree. It was purely and utterly out of passion. Genuinely, from the bottom of his heart, he just wanted to take calligraphy, right? And you may be like, oh, but that's a waste of time. Oh, how did that help him in his life? Calligraphy is never going to help you in your life, right? Listen to this.
Because I had dropped out and didn't have to take the normal classes, I decided to take a calligraphy class to learn how to do this. I learned about serif and sans serif typefaces, about varying the amount of space between different letter combinations, about what makes great typography great. It was beautiful, historical, artistically subtle in a way that science can't capture, and I found it fascinating. None of this had even a hope of any practical application in my life. But 10 years later, when we were designing the first Macintosh computer, it all came back to me. And we designed it all into the Mac. It was the first computer with beautiful typography. If I had never dropped in on that single course in college, the Mac would have never had multiple typefaces or proportionally spaced fonts. And since Windows just copied the Mac, it's likely that no personal computer would have them.
So fact of the matter is that you never really know how things will turn out. You never really know how things will connect with each other because you don't have the full picture, right? The full picture is with your Rabb, not with your me. We only have a pixel, if that. So I'm going to repeat this again. What other option do you have besides trusting Him? The Quran says again and again and again to trust Allah, but I would only read that and never really internalize that. There are hadiths talking about this where, for example, if you relied upon Allah like the birds do, He will provide for you like He provides for the birds. They go from their nests all empty stomach and they come back with a full stomach or something like that. So here's how I'm practically learning tawakkul, right? Again, I'm not perfect, but this is how I'm doing so. So everything that we mentioned is based upon one principle. Focus on what you can control. The inputs towards your goals, the daily process that you follow, the things you need to do to get to where you want to, that, my friend, is what you focus on. That is what you completely and utterly immerse yourself in. How to do it better, how to do it more efficiently, how to do more, right? You do all of that and you leave the rest to Allah. If you want to get a promotion, develop your skills. If you want to memorize Quran, do your 1 page a day. If you want to get jacked, work out 4 times a week. So I'm pretty sure you get the gist by now that whatever input is in your control, hammer away at it. Literally freaking destroy it. If there's a button, right, that says inputs, smash it as much as you can, because that is the only thing in your control. You can turn up the volume on your inputs, but you can't turn up the volume on your outputs because, again, they are not in your hands, they're in your Rabb's hands. So again, focus on the inputs because that's the only thing with control, and leave the outcome in your Rabb's hands. If you want to build an agency, do the damn outreach every single day and leave the outcome to Allah. Leave when you're going to get a response back from the client to Allah. Leave when you're going to book calls to Allah, right? Also, one thing, just because there's this idea of leave the outcome to Allah, right? Which is something that obviously we need to practice. Don't get lazy on your inputs. If we take the agency example again, pinpoint your messaging. Sharpen your sales skills for sales calls. Improve your script, right? These are little things that you can do, again, that are part of the inputs and part of hammering away at the inputs that will get you to that outcome, inshallah, bi'idhnillah. But when you do that and how that happens, just leave it up to Allah and just trust the timeline He has set for you. And honestly, this is something I need to be reminded of again and again and again, because it's very easy for you to sink back into the idea of you have full control over your life that is being fed to you in the self-development space. Remember, most of them are not Muslims. Most of them don't understand this concept of tawakkul, right? So the way that they operate and the way that we operate has to be different, because fundamentally our set of beliefs are different. And the fact of the matter is, Allah created you when you were nothing. He made you into the physical body you are today. He will provide for you and is providing for you and has provided for you, and to Him you will return. So how do we have full control over our life? Doesn't make sense. So to sum it up, build a plan, execute the plan to the best of your ability, and leave the rest to Allah. So this was more of a reminder for me than it was for you, because at the end of the day, these videos are literally just my thoughts, realizations, and things I'm realizing when I'm going on my journey. And if you want to follow that, then be my guest, subscribe, like the video, comment, etc. But that's it for this one. Keep getting stronger, keep getting smarter, keep seeking more knowledge, Islamic and worldly. And I will see you in the next video, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.